ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar my dear friends, this is video number 6 on Sadhan Sanjivani Tika of Bhagavad Gita by Swami Ramsukhdasji Maharaj. This video starts with video, verse number 21 and 22. Senyor ubhyo madhe ratham sathate nechutt yavat detani rikshe ahem yodhu kaman vassthitan कैर्मया सह योधे अस्मिन् रन समुद्यमे. Arjun said, O Achyuta, Achyuta means one who does not deviate from his divine glory. Place my chariot between the two armies and hold it there till I have carefully observed the war-minded warriors with whom I must wage this war. Comment. Achyutta means Achyutta Senyor Bhayor Madhe Ratham Sathapaya. The two armies were stationed at such a distance from each other from where they could shoot arrows, etc. at each other. Arjuna asked Lord Krishna to place the chariot in the middle. It was middle in two ways. Number one, the middle of the breadth of the armies. Number two, the middle of the two armies, which equidistant from the two armies should be the same. His purpose was to see the two armies easily. Senyor Bhayor Madhe has been used in the Gita 3 times. Here in first chapter, sloka number 21, in the 24th verse of this chapter, and in the 10th verse of the second chapter. He uses this phrase 3 times because the first time he asks Krishna to place the chariot between the two armies. Then Lord Krishna, placing the chariot between the two armies, tells Arjuna to behold the Kauravas, and afterwards preaches the gospel to despondent Arjuna right there. Chapter 2, stanza number 10. To begin with, Arjuna was valiant, but when he saw his kith and kin in battle array, he developed an attitude of disinterest, being overtaken by attachment. Finally, Lord Krishna preached the gospel of the Gita, which dispelled his attachment. It means that a man, in whatever circumstances he is, by making proper use of circumstances, can be free from desires and can realize God, because God, Paramatma, always remains uniform in all circumstances. Yavde tanni rakshineha rana samuddhanai. How long should the chariot be placed between the two armies? Arjuna says, hold the chariot there till I have carefully observed those war-minded kings with their armies who are stationed in the army of Kauravas and with whom I have to wage war. Let me see the heroes I have to encounter. Let me also see which of them are inferior, superior, and equal to me in heroism. Here by the phrase Yodha Kaman, Arjuna means to say that they sent a proposal of conciliation, but the Kauravas did not accept it as they had a keen desire to wage war. So he wants to observe the warriors and their bravery, which makes them so confident to wage war. Stanza number 23. यो तस्माना वेक्षे अहं य एते अत्र समागतः धृतराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धे युद्धे प्रियचीकर्षव. I desire to watch the evil-minded Duryodhana's well-wisher rulers who have assembled here with their armies and are ready to fight. Comment. धृतराष्ट्रया दुर्बुद्धे अहम ये प्रिया चिकित्स करवा. Here Arjuna, by calling Duryodhana evil-minded, wants to convey how Duryodhana conspired for their destruction several times and tried his best to humiliate them. Arjuna says, we are lawful owners of half that empire, but he wants to usurp it. He is evil-minded, and these kings have assembled here to try to do good to him. But the duty of a friend is to give him such advice as may add to his welfare now and hereafter. But these kings, instead of removing his evil-mindedness, want to enhance it and are really degrading him by instigating him to wage war. They are not thinking of his welfare here and hereafter. As friends, they should have advised him to rule over half of the kingdom and hand over the other half to us, the Pandavas. Thus he would have ruled over half of the empire, and his life in the next world would have been protected. Yotsya man vekseham ya etc. samgataha. I want to observe the warriors who are so impatient to wage war. They have favored unrighteousness and injustice, so they are sure to be ruined in the war against us. Yotsya Manan. It means that Arjuna wants to see those who have a keen desire to fight. There are two meanings of the term Dhritarashtra. Number one, Dhritarashtra's sons or relatives. Number two, those who usurp kingdom. Here this term has been used for Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana. Link. In the next two verses, Sanjaya tells us what Lord Krishna did after hearing Arjuna's words. Sanjay Uvach. Eva Mukto Hirshikesho Gudakeshen Bharat. Senyor Ubhyo Madhe Sathayitva Ratho Uttamam. Bhisham Dron Parmuktah Sarvesham Cha Mahi Akshitam. Uvach Parat Pasaitan Samveta Kuruniti. These 24th and 25th stanzas. Meaning, Sanjay said, O Bharata, born in Bharat family, thus addressed by Gudakesa, one who has control over sleep, with Arjuna, Hirshikesa, the lord of the senses, placed the magnificent chariot between the two armies in front of Bhishma, Drona, and all the kings, and said, O Partha, the son of Partha Kunti, behold all these Kurus assembled here. Comment. Guda Kesena. Guda Kesa has two meanings. Number one, Guda means curd and Kesa means hair. It means one who having curly hair. Number two, Gudaka means sleep and Isa means master. It means one who has conquered sleep. Arjuna had curly hair and he had conquered sleep, so he has been called Gudakesha. Eva Muktaha, one who is not a slave to sleep, idleness, and worldly pleasures, but is a slave, devotee to God. God listens to such a person and even obeys him. Having said so, in order to carry out the wish of his devotee friend Arjuna, Lord Krishna placed the chariot between the two armies. Hirshikesaha. Hershika means senses and Isa means Lord. Thus Hirshikesa means the Lord of the senses. In the 21st verse and also in this verse, this word has been used because Lord Krishna, who is the inspirer of minds, intellects, and senses, and who commands the whole world, has become a chariot driver to carry out Arjuna's wish. It shows how kind he is to Arjuna. Senyor Ubhaye Madhye Sathapyata Rathottamam. Lord Krishna stationed Arjuna's noble chariot in the open space between the two armies. Bhishma, Drona, Parmuktaha, Sarvesham, Cha Mahik Sitam. Lord Krishna placed the chariot with his sagacity at such a point from where his kinsmen such as Bhishma, his percept Drona, and chief kings and warriors of Kaurava army could be clearly seen. Uvacha Pratha Pasyatan Samveta Kuryuntri. In the word Kuru, the sons of both Dhritarashtra and Pandu are included because both of them belong to the Kuru family. Lord Krishna, by saying, "Behold, all these Kurus assembled here," means that by seeing them, Arjuna may think that they are all one, whether they are on his side or on the opposite side, and whether they are good or bad, and thus a feeling of kinship may develop in him. This feeling of kinship may lead to attachment and make him inquisitive. Thus, by making Arjuna an instrument, Lord Krishna wants to preach the gospel of the Gita for the benediction of the creatures of Kali age. Therefore, Lord Krishna, instead of using Dhritarashtra'n, used the word Kurun. If he had used Dhritarashtra'n, Arjuna would have become enthusiastic and Lord Krishna could not have got a chance to preach the gospel of the Gita, and Arjuna's delusion, born of kinship, could not have been destroyed. But Lord Krishna thought it his duty to destroy Arjuna's delusion. As a surgeon first gives medicine to a patient suffering from a boil so that it may suppurate, and then perform an operation to remove the diseased part, in the same way God first arouses the hidden delusion of Arjuna and then destroys it. Here Lord Krishna, by using the phrase Kurun Pasya, first arouses delusion in order to destroy it by advice later. Arjuna in the 22nd and 23rd verses of this chapter wanted to behold and observe them. So Lord Krishna says, behold these gurus. Lord Krishna could have placed the chariot without uttering any words, but he intentionally used the phrase Kurun Pasya to arouse attachment in Arjuna. There is a vast difference between love for the family and love for God, though there is also a little similarity. When we have love for members of our family, we overlook their faults because we have a feeling of mindness with them. Similarly, God also does not heed the shortcomings of his devotee because he has the feeling that he is his own. But in domestic love, importance is attached to matters such as body, etc. While in love for God, there is importance of feelings. In family love, there is importance of delusion. While in love for God, there is importance of alliance. In family love, there is darkness, while in divine love there is light. In family love, a man is negligent of his duty, while in love for God, being engrossed in love, a man may forget his duty momentarily but is never negligent of his duty. In family love, there is preeminence of the family, while in love for God, there is preeminence of God. Link. In the above mentioned verse, Lord Krishna told Arjuna to behold the Kurus. In the next verse, Sanjay describes what happened after that. Verse number 26. तत्र पश्यति स्थित पार्थः पितृनथ पितामहान् आचार्यन् मातुलान् भातृपुत्रा पौत्रा सखिन् सतता सवसुरा सुहृदश्चैव सैन्योर्युभयोरपि. Standing there, Arjuna then saw in both the armies his uncles, grand uncles, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, cousins, sons, grandsons, friends, father-in-law, and well-wishers as well. Comment. तत्र पश्यत् स्थितिना परतः पर्था पितृनाथा पितामहान् आचार्य अतुल भ्राता पुत्रा अन्पौत्रा संकीहिस्तना सवासुर सवसुरा सुन्द्रः चैवा सैन्योरुभये Arpi. When Lord Krishna told Arjuna to behold the Kurus on the battlefield, Arjuna saw the members of his family assembled on both sides. He saw his father's brother named Bhurisarva, who was just like his father. He saw his granduncles Bhishma and Soma, Datta, etc., preceptors Drona and Karpa, etc., maternal uncles such as Purujit, Kunti Bhoja, Salya and Sakuni etc. Brothers and cousins Bhima and Duryodhana etc. Sons such as Abhimanyu, Ghutotkach, Lakshmana, Duryodhana's son etc. Grandsons such as the sons of Lakshmana, friends of Duryodhana named Aswathama, etc., and also his friends, fathers-in-law such as Drupada and Seba, etc., and also well-wishers such as Satyaki and Kartavarma, etc. Link. In the next verse, there is description of what Arjuna did after seeing members of his family in both armies. Stanza number 27. तान् समीक्षय स कौन्तेय सर्वान् बन्धून् अवसितान् कर्पया पर्याविष्टो विषीदन्ति ब्रवीत्. Arjuna, the son of Kunti, seeing all those relations present there and standing at their appointed places, was filled with extreme compassion and uttered these following words in sadness. Comment. तान समीक्षय स कौन्तेय सर्वान् बन्धून् अवस्थितान् कृपया पर्याविष्टो विसिदन्ति ब्रवीत. Besides the warriors mentioned in the previous verse, Arjuna saw great grandfathers such as Bahalika, etc., brother-in-law such as Dhrishtadyumna, Sikhandi, and Surtha, etc., sisters, husbands such as Jayadartha, etc., and several other relatives who were posted in different positions in both armies. सा कौन्तेयः कृपया पराविष्टः. Sa Kunteya means that Arjuna, who was ordered by Mother Kunti to wage war and who, full of valor and stout-heartedness, entered the battlefield to observe the chief warriors of the Kaurava army, was overcome by cowardice. After seeing the warriors who were related to him through family and learning on both the sides, Arjuna suddenly developed an attitude of kinship with them because he thought that on both sides there were his kinsmen and they would be killed in the war. In this way, it was his family that would be destroyed on either side. Thinking thus, his stout heartedness gave place to cowardice and he gave up the idea of war. This faint heartedness has been called by Lord Krishna Kasmalam, with dejection, and Hridaya Dorbalayam, weakness of the heart. Arjuna also accepted as Karpana Yados first bhavaha, which nature being tainted by the weakness of faint-heartedness. Karpa Vistaha means that faint-heartedness is a temporary phase in him, while stout-heartedness is a permanent virtue of his life. Thus, the temporary phase of faint-heartedness cannot last too long, while his stout-heartedness will remain forever. What is extreme cowardice? Extreme cowardice in Arjuna is that he does not think and make effort to kill his cruel and unrighteous opponents such as Duryodhana, Dushasana and Sakuni etc., who without any reason insulted the Pandavas, gave them trouble and tried to kill them. Somehow or the other, on the other hand, he is taking pity on them and is thus deviating from his duty of the warrior class. We see the Anni Dam Bharavit. Arjuna is very much dejected after thinking over the consequences of a war for the family, tribe and country and speaks the following words. Arjun Uach, stanza number 28. Drasht- Drashtve दृष्ट्वेयं सौजनं कृशं युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितं सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति. Stanza number 29. वैपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते. 30th. गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् कवच प्रीदह्यते न च शक्नोमि वस्थातुं भ्रमति च मे मनः. Arjuna Uach. Arjuna said, O Krishna, at the sight of these kinsmen thus arrayed here, eager to wage war, my limbs give way, my mouth is parched, my body shivers, and hair stand on end. The bow, Gandiva, slips from my hand, and my skin burns all over. My mind is reeling as it were, and I am not able even to stand. Comment. Darsi Vemam Svajana Krishna Yuyutsum Sampusthapitam. Arjuna loved the name Krishna very much, so he has been addressed by this name in the Gita 9 times more than any other name. Lord Krishna similarly loved Arjuna's name Partha, the son of Partha Kunti. Therefore, while talking together, both of both of them addressed each other by these names, and this fact was well known to other people also. Therefore, Sanjaya at the end of the Gita in chapter number 18, stanza number 78 mentions Krishna and Partha. Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishno Yatra Partho Dhamurdharaha. Which wherever is Krishna, the Lord of Yoga, and wherever is Partha Arjuna, the wielder of the bow. Dhritarashtra in the first verse of this chapter uses the phrase Samveta Yuyuksavaha, gathered together, desirous to fight, and Arjuna here has said Yuyutsum Sampusthitam, arrayed eager to fight, but there is a vast difference in the views of the two. Dhritarashtra is partial to his sons, so he uses the word Mamkaha, mine, and Pandavaha, Pandus. But Arjuna is impartial, so he uses the term Savjanam, kinsman, which includes persons of both sides. It means that Dhritarashtra is worried about the death of his sons in the warfare, while Arjuna is worried about the death of warriors in both armies, because he thinks that both the warring groups are his own kith and kin. Till now, the word Drashtva, having seen, has been used 3 times. Drashtva tu Pandavanikam, having seen the army of the Pandavas, chapter number 1, stanza number 2. Vyavasthitan Drishtva Dhritarashtra'n, having seen Dhritarashtra's party arrayed, chapter number 1, stanza number 20. And here Drishtvevam Sajanam, having seen these kinsmen, it means that there is no change in the attitude of Duryodhana as far as war is concerned. But there is a lot of change in Arjuna's attitude. First, after seeing the sons of Dhritarashtra, Arjuna, like a hero, gets ready for war. But after seeing his relatives present there, he is overwhelmed with extreme compassion. His bow slips from his hand and he is not inclined to fight. सिद्धांति मम गत्राणि भ्रामित्वा मे manaha. Thinking of the consequences of the war, Arjuna is worried and sad. So his limbs are giving way, his mouth is getting parched, his body shakes, and his hair is standing on an end. The same Gandiva bow, the sound of whose string terrified enemies is dropping from his hand, and his skin is burning all over. His mind is reeling, he is in a dilemma, and he is unable even to stand at the war front. He feels as if he will fall unconscious and thinks it is a sin to wage war. Link. After describing the 8 signs of his sadness in the previous verses, now Arjuna mentions the inappropriateness of war with the inauspicious omens he sees. Stanza number 31. Nimittani cha pashyami vipritani keshav न च श्रेयो अनुपश्यामि hatva saujanmaha have. O Kesava, I also find the omens inauspicious, and I do not see any good in killing my kith and kin in battle. Worry had been compared with fire. There is a little difference between the two. Worry burns a living man while fire burns a dead man. Comment. Nimittani cha pashyami vipratani Kesava. O Kesava, I find the omens inauspicious. Enthusiasm in the beginning of an activity leads it to success, while dilemma leads to failure. So, Arjuna says that the omens that his limbs are giving way, his body is shaking, his mouth is getting parched, are not auspicious. Besides, these other omens, such as the falling of a meteor, ultimately eclipse, untimely eclipse, earthquake, horrible sound of birds and animals, obliteration of a black mark in the moon, falling of blood from clouds are inauspicious, and all of these augur ill. Nacha Shreyo Nupashyami Hatva Saujana Mahave. I do not see any good in killing my kith and kin either in this world or in the next, because only a sinner can destroy his kith and kin. Therefore, sin alone will accrue to us by killing them, and that sin will lead us to hell. In this worth, in both Nimittani Pashyami, I see omens, and Sreyaha Anuspashyami, I see good. Arjuna wants to say that whether he goes by the omens or by his common sense, it is certain that it is futile to wage war, and there is no good in it for them and for the entire world. Link. In the next verse, Arjuna expresses his reluctance to get such an undesirable victory. Stanza number 32 of chapter number 1. Ne kankse vijayam krishan ne cha rajam sukhani cha Kim no rajen govind kim bhoga jivitena va. The omens are not responsible for the occurrence of the incidents, they merely foretell the incidents. What Arjuna is regarding as omens are not omens in fact, they are the defects of senses, body, mind, and intellect which Arjuna finds in him because of his sadness. Here, the verb pashyami has been used for omens of the past and the present, and verb anupashyami has been used for the consequence in future. Translation of the stanza. O Krishna, I covet not victory, nor kingdom, nor pleasure, O Govinda, of what use to us is kingdom, or luxuries, or even life. This is translation of stanza 32 and commentary of stanza number 32. Na kankse vijayam Krishna, na cha rajyam sukhani cha. Suppose we get victory and then we get the kingdom of the entire earth and also pleasures. These are of no avail. I do not want either victory, kingdom, or pleasure. किं नो राजेन गोविंद किं भोगा जीवितेन वा. When we do not desire anything, victory, kingdom and pleasure, of what use to us is kingdom or pleasure. Victory, kingdom and pleasure seem pleasant only when there is desire for these. But we have no desire for these. So how can these be pleasant to us? After killing our kith and kin, we have no desire to live, because after death, who will enjoy pleasure? The so-called pleasure will rather lead us to worry and unhappiness. I conclude this video here. Next video number 7 will start with stanza number 33 of chapter number 1 of Bhagavad Gita. Namaskar, my dear friend. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Namaskar.